Good evening and welcome to Dogus 30. One of Clark Atlanta University's Education Department professors just released a new book on what it's really like to be a college counselor. Crystal M. Giddens, a counselor, held an event at Clark Atlanta University to promote her new book, When School Counseling Hurts, to give her perspective on how school counseling can affect the school's education systems. Old and former students of Miss Giddens got together to celebrate and congratulate her on her new book, and a few of them did a couple of interviews to explain on how wonderful person she was and how great the event and how great the book would be.
TIANAYOUNG.
So what did you think about the event here at Thomas Cole today?
I think it's going to be a great event. I'm very happy for Dr. Giddens, very excited for her, very, very excited for her and all of her accomplishments.
In the book, When School Counseling Hurts, what type of impact do you think this book will have for the education program?
Okay, well, first, I hope that Clark adopts the book and incorporate it into the counseling program. She's an excellent counselor. She's been a school counselor for 30 plus years, or 20 something years, a very long time. She's made a great impact on the different schools in Atlanta, the inner city schools. So as a future counselor, I can take this book and incorporate it into my counseling program. She talks about comprehensive counseling program, ASCA. She talks about the good and the bad sides of school counseling and pretty much how to cope as being a counselor. So I think it'll be a really great book for any counselor to have.
Okay, thank you, Tiana. That was it.
Okay, thank you.
I absolutely love the program today. I love when authors are able to come and basically explain what the book is saying, give us their perspective on it, so that made more of the words come to life, and I was able to relate it to myself, being that I'm a school counselor too, so it was very relatable.
And can you speak on your personal relationships with Giddens?
Sure. Dr. Giddens, she was actually my teacher while I was here for my complete full 3 years, and we had a lot of interactions outside the classroom. She was someone I could call all the time when I needed recommendation letters, when I had questions, when I was nervous about taking the GACE and different certification tests. She was always there for me, so we have a really great relationship, and we're also sorority sisters. So.
All right, thank you for your time. Dr. Giddens came out and shared a few personal things about writing the book. Here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Initially, I thought it was me, that I was the only one that had some concerns about how the field of counseling was changing. It was not what I thought it was going to be based on what I had learned at the graduate school level. I was a little concerned about that, and I would mumble and grumble about it, and I would take notes along the way. But when I became president of the Atlanta School Counselors Association for 4 years, over and over and over and over again, I kept having counselors come to me with concerns they had about how they were not really getting a chance to counsel students. They were doing some other things. So eventually I put a lot of notes together and I decided that I wanted to write about it, because in my mind, school counseling wasn't helping very much.
Get Dr. Giddens' new book, When School Counseling Hurts, and see how it affects your opinion on the school system and their counseling programs. It may help, it may not. Clark Atlanta University's third president, Carlton E. Brown, is now retiring, and a new president has been selected. I went out to see what the CAU students felt about their new president, Dr. Ronald Johnson. Clark Atlanta University students are proud to announce the arrival of their new president. Carlton E. Brown will be replaced by Ronald Johnson, a Texas resident, in the upcoming school year for the university.
I'm not sure about too much information on the new president, but I hope that he brings new change to the school and brings something new to all of us as students.
Some of the Clark Atlanta students hopes that the new president gives more to the mass media department because a lot of things are lacking and new equipment is needed.
I think the president should separate the mass media department from the whole school entirely, because the school is basically, to me, it's the mass media department. I don't think anybody outside our field or outside our department know how to teach us that we can relate to. So I just hope that he change it for the future students that come into this university.
The new president explains what type of students he will produce and what type of students he will help produce during his time as president for Clark Atlanta University.
Institution. That you have to produce people who are well-rounded and who can actually anticipate the future. People who understand what I call the art of the possible. That they see a block, and essentially we talk about the motto that if there is no way we can make one, that if you see a block, you're going to figure out how to get around it, how to move it, how to go through it, that in order to do that, you have to have a deep understanding of the humanities, a good understanding of science and mathematics, and then a basis within, in terms of a specific discipline. And so I see that that's the role.
Johnson was unanimously selected by Clark Atlanta University's board by a poll of more than 100 applicants and 3 finalists, and we are now glad to welcome him to the university. As tuition costs steadily rise, more and more students are taking on full-time and part-time jobs. Douglas 30 reporter Brittany Miller has more.
With college tuition steadily rising, more and more students are finding jobs. I sat down with Shatay Spates, a junior undergraduate student, as she shared her experience as a working college student.
Currently, I work at Publix, and I've been working there for about 4 years. I've been there before I came to college, so since my junior year in high school. Basically just for a little bit of extra money. My parents kind of help me out with basic stuff, but if I want something extra, that's just kind of my way of having that money to get it. My scholarship covers tuition, so as far as books, housing, everything else, that comes out of our pockets. I live off campus right now. I stay at Westmar, and that's kind of expensive in itself compared to staying on campus. I stayed at Heritage. It is less expensive to stay at Heritage that I've noticed. I'll probably have another option for next year for a place to stay.
Statistics show that over 24% of students work more than 22 hours per week at the average 4-year institution. 23 hours if they're a full-time student, and 30 hours if they're part-time. Shatay tells us at PSI she works 20.
So as far as having a part-time job, I believe the positives would be, it teaches you a little bit of extra responsibility, being on time, being punctual, how to deal with other people, outside of just school. And of course, it's money, so that's always a good thing. The downsides, you kind of, not lack of social life, but it's definitely, it kind of gets in the way of everything else. Of course, with extracurricular activities, hang with friends and whatnot, you have to go to work and you're not going to always be able to have that downtime to do what you really want to do.
Working is now a fundamental responsibility for numerous undergraduates. Many students bear the burden of working to pay the cost of attending college throughout the time of enrollment, while some students desire to work in order to gain a greater skill set in their field. College career centers often suggest using a job as an opportunity to develop professional competence that employers will be expecting upon graduation. Research has shown employment during college has several benefits other than monetary, including increased leadership and time management skills. Considering it is more likely that students who work full-time, more than 35 hours per week, are more likely to drop out, quantitative studies consistently show higher retention rates for students who work a modest number, 10 to 15 hours per week, than those who do not. However, the number of undergraduates working fewer than 20 hours per week has declined during the past decade, while the number working between 20 to 34 hours has seen an increase. Today, nearly 1 in 10 full-time traditional-age undergraduates is employed at least 35 hours per week.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that! Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
While many college students are seeking gainful employment, some students are using their own talent for extra money. Douglas 30 investigates.
While over 30% of college students choose either a part-time or full-time job as a means of income, some students, like Kimya Bradford, choose another route.
Well, I braid hair, any type of braids that anybody needs. And yes, I consider myself to have a job because I do work long hours, I stand on my feet. I just don't clock in like a normal person would. I don't have a manager, I don't, have anybody to tell me what time to come in or leave or anything like that. I make my own hours whenever I'm available is when I do hair. So yes, I consider myself to have a job because I work really hard, just as hard as someone who has a job where they clock in or clock out. A good week, I would average probably anywhere between 30 to 36 hours doing hair. That's in a good week. It's my own thing, it's my own business. I'm creating it. I have a cute little name, Braids by Kimmy. So yeah, I would consider myself an entrepreneur in a sense. Some pros is, of course, the money. The money is good. I get a lot of clients, and a lot of people know my name, know what I do, so that's a good thing, having money and some source of income. But some cons, I would say, is the late hours because I have class during the day, so I typically do hair at night. So the late hours and the long hours with doing hair and just being tired, and sometimes it conflicts with my schoolwork. So that would be some cons, definitely, rather than having a regular 9 to 5. I feel like it would be equal, rather if I worked at Walmart or something like that, or Kohl's, or, I feel like it'll be equal the time where I won't be able to do everything on campus. I'm not able to go to all the events or anything of that nature on campus because I do hair. So, with the late hours, everything is typically at nighttime, around 6 or 7, and I would have to either move someone or just cancel whatever event that I'm going to for doing hair. So no, I don't make it to everything. And I think it's equal as if I would, work at Walmart or something like that. I started doing hair on campus, I would say sophomore year, so fall 2013. I definitely will continue into my senior year because, like I said, it's a source of income. I don't have to worry about my boss calling me, telling me, or worrying about hours going up and down. I make my own hours. I do hair when I can, when I want to, and if I don't want to, I can easily cancel somebody. So I can't call in and say, oh, well, I just can't come into work today. I'll be fired. I can't fire myself. So yes, I would definitely go into senior year doing hair because it's a good source of income. In the event that I don't have a good week and it's slow and people aren't coming in to get their hair done, it does cross my mind sometimes, well dang, maybe I should get a job because then I'll be looking forward to a paycheck. But then again, I'm like, no, because if I just do hair one day this week, I could be scheduled on, my job schedule for one day that week. So, and I get paid more from doing hair that day than I would clocking in. So, sometimes I do feel like that, but then sometimes I don't because it is what it is. People have jobs too, people have lives. So, if I'm not having a good week, I still have money from before. So, it's not like I'm really struggling too bad. I do plan at some point in time to go to cosmetology school and receive my license. So yeah, I see myself beyond college still doing hair because it's something that I really love to do. It's tiring, it hurts sometimes, it gives me a headache. People get on my nerves sometimes, but I do love doing it. So it's nothing like I'm just doing it just because I like doing it. So yeah, it's something that I will continue after college.
Building resumes, combating expenses, or just having fun, the work never stops. Dogus 30 reporter, Brittany Miller.
Party promoters on college campuses are nothing new, but some students put a spin on promotion at Lenox Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. Lenox Mall in Atlanta, Georgia is a popular mall where people of all ages go to shop and have a good time with the variety of clothing stores available. It wasn't so much of a good time last week, when a group of young adults walked into the mall and had a flash mob at the food court to promote their party. Here's a little bit of the footage. Even though the kids were being harmless and just dancing, not everyone was enjoying the show, and some people even thought the performance was a bit of a mall disturbance and felt uncomfortable that kids were dancing and shouting on tables while people with their friends and families were trying to relax and enjoy their meal. The mall is supposed to be a place to get out and have fun, and not for an unplanned party, but with all the complaints, this may be the last flash mob the mall sees for a very long time. Stay tuned. More Douglas 30 when we return. Reporter Chelsea Bynum shows exclusive video of working as a motor transport operator and a heavy equipment operator while talking about the benefits of joining Clark Atlanta University's ROTC program.
At your next job interview, do the following. Ask your potential employer for a minimum of $1,500 a month to start, plus a rent-free apartment with all utilities paid, free meals, frequent pay raises, and quick promotions. Insist on a minimum of 30 days paid vacation per year, plus weekends and 10 federal holidays off. Ask them to provide you with free working clothes with an additional allowance each year for upkeep and replacement. Demand free medical and dental coverage at no cost to you with unlimited sick leave with pay. Insist they hire you with no prior experience and train you in your new job with full pay and benefits. Insist on a free membership to state-of-the-art fitness facilities. Demand free air travel to hundreds of worldwide locations. And demand low-cost life insurance package providing you with up to $400,000 in coverage. And lastly, tell them you may be quitting in 2 to 6 years, and when you do, you want an additional $60,000 plus from them for college and university or vocational training. Clark Atlanta University has one of the best U.S. Army and National Guard ROTC programs in the city. Their offices on Clark Atlanta's campus is located in the Vivian Henderson Gymnasium. For more information, contact them or contact your local recruiting office.
Reporter Derricka Young got an interview with Fulton County's police chief, where they take precautions as to asking 3 questions in order to make sure Ebola stays out of their facilities.
We're here at the Fulton County Jail, where the police chief tells us exactly the precautions that they take in order to keep Ebola from coming inside the jail.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
One of the things that we do not want.
Have you traveled to Africa in the last 21 days?
Is a single person coming in here, contaminating a housing unit.
Have you had contact with anyone who's traveled from Africa and neighboring countries in the last 21 days?
And then us having to shut down.
Come on in, sir.
Intake. Chief Mark says while his men and women work hard to keep the right prisoner in jail these days, they're working hard to make sure that the need arises, the wrong prisoner stays out. Any prisoner that can't answer 3 questions about Ebola, including:
Do you have vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain?
How concerned was he?
I'm very concerned.
The jail will also be adding emergency gear to existing supplies, training all staff, getting special thermometers so eventually every incoming inmate can have his or her temperature taken.
We had some excited conversations.
Says a woman gave one set of answers at the door and then another to a nurse and then threw up.
We followed our procedures.
It turned out she didn't have Ebola.
We were assured that our environment was still safe.
Recent inmate told us he was glad to have the questions given.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Fulton County Police Chief tells us that they will have full gear and masks next week. I'm Darika Young and you're watching Dogus 30.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
There were many students who attended Clark Atlanta University performing at a local venue in Atlanta. The show turned out to be a huge success and they received much positive feedback. The showcase is called Mad Expressions and it displays many different styles of dance. For anyone who is interested, this showcase is held once every 3 months, so expect the next one to be in July of this year. I had the pleasure to interview Clark Atlanta University student Jeffremiah Turk. She is also one of the dancers that were featured last night at the performance, and here's what she had to say.
Hi, I'm Jeffremiah. I go to Clark Atlanta University, and I was a part of the Mad Expressions production. It was an awesome production. We had a lot of people come out. We had Jungle Boogie come out. We had a lot of different dance crews from different parts of Atlanta, even other cities and states like Alabama. I'm trying to think about what else, Florida. And it was just really fun because I love bringing dancers together and having a good time. And it wasn't even for a competition. It was really just to showcase the other talent that is around in the South region, which is a lot. And of course, my dance team, House Rest 2 Championship Dancing.
This is Terry Gomez with Dogus 30. Thanks for tuning in.
What you just saw coming in from break was Dogus 30 reporter Terry Gomez covering the seasonal Mad Expressions performance. Thank you for joining us this evening for this week's edition of Dogus 30. Be sure to join us at the same place next time. I'm your host, Nigel Saunders. Good night.